I get it, okay? You're scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, watching people live that cottagecore dream, looking like they've just stepped out of a Beatrix Potter novel, and you're thinking, that'll never be me. Maybe you're watching BBC's Ghosts and hoping, nay praying, that you also have a rich great aunt about to pop her clog so that you can inherit her beautiful Georgian manor house. But the fact of the matter is, you simply don't have the funds to move to the Cotswolds and live an off-the-grid lifestyle, and all my aunts happen to be in perfect health. So what? Are we just doomed to look longingly through our phone screen? I think not. And so in this video, I'm going to show you modern hacks for vintage living, whether you live in the city or countryside, whether your house is new or old, and whether you've got money to spend or not. So let's get into this. To achieve a more vintage aesthetic and echo eras gone by, you need more vintage pieces in your home. And I know this may sound super obvious, but trust me, a small trip to your local thrift store and scattering a few quirky pieces around your home will instantly change its vibe. Now, these don't have to be valuable or even in perfect quality, but characterful with a kind of lived-in look, and these can absolutely be incorporated into modern spaces. Filling your shelves with vintage trinkets without making it look cluttered will become a feast for the eyes. But here's a quick tip. Make sure the tones and textures of your home match the thrifted goods that you buy. For example, if you buy wood furniture, make sure that you can easily incorporate it into the wood that you may already have in your home. We don't want to be mixing mahogany and pine, for example. And this also goes for accessories. Make sure the accessories that you buy complement the tones and textures that are already present in your home. If anything, it will make your job easier. Oh, and plants. Cottagecore, slow living, whatever, it's all about a connection with nature. And if you don't happen to have an outside space, I want you to bring the nature inside. So amongst those shelves, I want spider plants and bonsai. Avoid white, beige or magnolia. Instead, try to experiment with pastels or regal colours like deep greens. These kind of colour schemes will instantly make your home look a lot more traditional. And here's a really easy one. Head over to your local charity shop or thrift store and stock up on old frames. And over time, start to replace your current frames. I promise you, whether you've got modern art in there or an old family photo, an old frame will give it such an ornate look. If you've got wooden floors, use them. And better yet, throw an old rug over them. Trust me. Freestanding furniture will instantly give your home an older look. We literally redesigned our entire kitchen to make it look older, including the installation of a late 1940s cooker that was only £16 on eBay. But if you don't have the option to renovate your entire kitchen, then simply add vintage touches. For example, get yourself a secondhand steam kettle, better yet, a whistling one, and it'll just add a little bit of charm to your morning coffee. Which brings me on to going steady on the automated. Of course, in this modern age, we all love convenience, but rather than everything being convenient all of the time, let's try and practice the art of doing. Hang washing on the line in the sunshine, water your plants, and even when it comes to leisure activities like reading, try and buy second-hand books and make it a tangible experience rather than a Kindle one. And speaking of Kindle, if you happen to have a fire, then light it rather than just flicking on the heating. Basically, embrace the joy of the task. It will help you feel more mindful and instantly transport you to a time when fast-paced modern living wasn't the norm. But you might be sat there thinking, I don't have the money to install a log burner. Or the room. Maybe you wouldn't want to anyway because of the environment. Good for you. Well, in that case, why not purchase an ethanol fire? These neat little boxes can be placed in disused fireplaces, or you can purchase bigger ones for your garden. They're fume-free and so easy to light. Just a bit of lighter fluid in a match and you've got a beautiful fire to enjoy. By the way, this isn't an advertisement. I'm not sponsored by the people who make these boxes, although it does sound like I am. And you can even add fake logs for a more traditional look. So whether it's roasting marshmallows or cozying up with a blanket, these ethanol fires can give your home a real vintage look. As well as enjoying al fresco marshmallows, let's talk about your outside space, because I'm a big believer that any garden, big or small, can become a vintage haven. Something as simple as an allotment or a flower bed or a small vegetable garden can bring you that slow living pleasure that you're after. And hang bird feeders, or leave a nice big bowl of water for your local pigeons. They love a good bath. A connection with nature can absolutely happen in urban spaces. And it should. And if you'd like to learn a bit more about conservation within our urban environment, then I actually run a pigeon welfare charity where we touch upon just those topics. Anyway, back to the outside space. Avoid decking and modern design. Instead, Allow your garden to grow a little wild and plant flowers that will attract bees. And I even saw a lady on Instagram create her own entire pond, which looked quite easy to do. And in a few short weeks, it had become its own entire ecosystem. Grab yourself some secondhand cast iron garden furniture and you've cracked it. I live smack bang in the middle of a city. If you don't believe that I live in the city, that is the sound of a massive HGV that has just pulled up right outside my house. And somehow people still see me as a vintage grandma core inspiration that lives in a little house that looks haunted. Kind of like ghosts, but on a smaller scale. The point is, I'm a firm believer that no matter what your situation, you can build your dream life within a budget, and then all you have to do is enjoy it.